Namaste, Sakshi, Manasakshi. I am Priya Koteti. Welcome to Immigration Talk Show with అంతర్జాతీయ న్యాయవాది డాక్టర్ శ్రీనివాస్ కవిటి గారు. కవిటి గారికి చాలా చోట్ల మనకి బ్రాంచెస్ ఉన్నాయి. కొత్తగా కూడా కోస్టల్ ఆంధ్ర, విశాఖపట్నం, బెంగుళూరు వాటిలో కూడా మన అందరి కోసం సర్వ్ చేయడానికి అని చెప్పి బ్రాంచెస్ ఓపెన్ చేశారు. అలాగే ఆయనకు అంతకుముందు యూకే, లండన్, కెనడా, ఢిల్లీ, హైదరాబాద్ చాలా చోట్ల ఉన్నాయి. సో వీఆర్ ఆల్వేస్ హ్యాపీ, డిలైటెడ్ టు హ్యావ్ యూ ఆన్ అవర్ షో, సార్. వెల్కమ్ టు అవర్ షో.
Thank you, Priya. Thanks for having me.
సో శ్రీనివాస్ గారు, మనము ఇప్పుడు చాలా హాట్ టాపిక్ గా నడిచేది ఏంటి అంటే నో బెయిల్ జైల్ అని. లైక్ మనకి ట్రంప్ చెప్పినట్టు మనకు ఒక యాక్ట్ ఉంది కదా, రిలే లేకిన్ యాక్ట్ తీసుకొని వస్తాను. లైక్ లాస్ట్ టైం ఒక నర్సింగ్ స్టూడెంట్ ఒహాయోలో ఒక ట్రాజికల్ గా పాస్ అవుట్ అయ్యి ఒక మెడికల్ ఎర్రర్ అయ్యి ఇష్యూస్ అని అయ్యాయి కాబట్టి, సో ఇప్పుడు ఆ రిలే లాకిన్ యాక్ట్ ప్రకారం ఎవరన్నా గానీ లైక్ ఇమిగ్రెంట్స్ ఏలన్నా కొంచెం అఫెన్స్ గానీ ఏమైనా చేస్తే ఇంకా బెయిల్ కూడా లేకుండా డైరెక్ట్ జైలు, డిటెన్షన్ అండ్ డిపోర్టేషన్ అని అంటున్నారు. సో దీని గురించి మీరేం చెప్తారు?
First of all, Priya, thanks for having me. ఇప్పుడు we need to understand what is this law. ఏముంటుందంటే this is a name of an individual actually. Lekin ani tanu, she is a nursing student and she was studying in University of Georgia. So tanu, she went for walking, walking and running trail in the morning, jogging. So when she was running, after some time she disappeared. Oka Venezuelan, he is an immigrant, but he came without a visa. He crossed the border, he came into the country. So what that guy did, actually వాడు ఆమెను అటాక్ చేసి వాడు ఆమెని చంపేశాడు. యాక్చువల్లీ హిస్ నేమ్ ఇస్ ఇబార్. వాడు అయితే ఏమైందంటే వాడు చంపేసిన తర్వాత హర్ ఫ్రెండ్స్ కాల్ ద కాప్స్ అండ్ సెడ్ షీ డిడ్ నాట్ కమ్ ఫ్రమ్ జాగింగ్. సో తెలుసుకొని పోలీసు వాళ్ళు చెక్ చేస్తే ఆ పొదలలో పడిపోయి అండ్ షీ వాజ్ డెడ్ బై ద టైమ్. సో ఇది బైడెన్ టైం, దిస్ వాజ్ బైడెన్ టైం. So, President Trump garu in his campaign trail, he said because Biden administration made open border policy, all the criminals have come into the country. So these criminals who are coming from Venezuela or Colombia, Ecuador, they are killing American citizens. So he said, the moment I come into the office, I will pass a law naming on her, actually, Reagan law legislation they've introduced in both the houses because the Republicans are in power. That bill became a law now, and he signed it. Even under the law, actually, it's a very strict law by the federal government. What does it mean? One must understand in US there are three types of laws in this country. This is a federalism system. What is the meaning of that? Even India is a federal country, and many countries are federal structure, democratic. The federal government has one law which is applicable to the whole of America, and there is a state law which is applicable to the state, and there's also a county, city law. For example, if you're living in Chicago or Texas, in your own city, the municipal trucks will come and take your garbage. And if you don't put it in right thing, they will give you a ticket. And the city will have, for example, if you take New York City, it's called New York City Police, NYPD. And when you're driving on the highway, and there is a state trooper, it's called state police. And in federal government, the immigration and military, they are federal police. That means it's a federal law, the law applicable to the whole of America. So now the President Trump has come up with a law, which is a federal law, which is a law of the whole land. EMT, for example, any undocumented alien, for example, we need to understand what is a documented alien, what is undocumented alien. Just for your prekshakula kosamo, documented alien means, what is the meaning of alien? Pardesi. Because in our green card, it says alien resident card. That means you're a Paradesi. Alien means you are a foreigner, but you have a resident. You have a right to live in this country forever. That's called green card, alien resident card. ఇప్పుడు for example, somebody is coming on an H1B or a student visa. They are documented aliens, non-immigrant workers. If somebody is coming on an H1B, non-immigrant workers, L1B, non-immigrant. Students are also non-immigrant students. So they came with a visa and they came into the country. They are documented aliens. Undocumented aliens and if somebody crossing the border, you come into the country, you stay back. And somebody comes on a visitor visa. There are a lot of Indians, they stay back in the country after 6 months expiration. So they become undocumented aliens. And the third thing is people come on a student visa, they overstay. People come on an H1 visa, they don't maintain their status. And some people, they come, they file asylum applications. A lot of people come and overstay. Kadandi. So
Yes.
those guys become undocumented aliens. So now this law says any undocumented aliens or illegal aliens, if they are caught, for example, these students, a lot of them are H1B guys or even visitors who come into the country, they go to a store, Walmart store, they go and steal something. It's called shoplifting. The moment you do shoplifting, the police arrest you. ఇప్పుడు రేకిల్ ఏమంటుంది దిస్ లేకిన్ legislation, if you're arrested for a shoplifting, you will be mandatory detention. Well, there's a difference, Andy. What is called arrest and what is detention? The arrest means you're arrested by the police, they'll put you handcuffs and your movement is being curtailed. Detention means you're detained. Either you're detained in a police station or you're detained in a jail. So mandatory detention and Peter. Anybody who gets arrested, anybody who gets charged for shoplifting. This is very, very important for students, H1B guys, green card holders. As to a visitor visa, people came and stayed. Those who crossed the borders, who made frivolous applications, Vilanta. If they get arrested or charged by the police will call the federal government and the immigration guys will come. They will detain you in the detention center. It could be a state detention, city, or a federal detention at a jail, basically. If they're detained, no bail. That's called mandatory detention. Very, very, very serious. Whether it is for H1B guys or a students or a visitors or anybody who's crossed the borders. Mandatory detention. Another. And they will be deported back to their country. So this is very serious.
So, Kaveti garu, this is only for the undocumented aliens, లేకపోతే even applicable for documented aliens, like ప్రాపర్‌గా H1B హోల్డర్స్ గానీ, L1 మీద వచ్చిన వాళ్ళు గానీ, వాళ్ళకి కూడా ఇది వర్తిస్తుందా?
Undocumented aliens అని వాడారు. అంటే people who have come unlawfully into this country. See, what will happen ఇప్పుడు, for example, you're on H1B or you're on a student visa or you're in L1 or something. ఇప్పుడు what will happen, because this law is come by the federal government, obviously what they will do, once they arrest you, they will report to the immigration because you're an immigrant.
Yes.
Because the H1B law and the student visas or non-immigrant workers, if you're arrested for a moral turpitude offense, what will happen, you will be given information to the immigration authorities because you have committed a moral turpitude offense. Moral turpitude offense ante you're a deportable alien. Mala. And the immigration could take over. Adokati. It could be students, it could be H1B guys. Ante the law could be misused. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
That's going to happen.
కానీ ఇప్పుడు ఇన్నోసెంట్‌గా ఉన్న వాళ్ళ పైన కూడా ఫాల్స్‌గా అబ్యూజ్ చేయొచ్చు కదా ఈ లాని బాగా. సో
Absolutely. ఇప్పుడు, for example, students who are drinking and driving, they could be arrested, and that's an offense. If there are two individuals after drinking, they're fighting. Assault. దాన్ని కూడా పెట్టారు. Shoplifting, assault. For example, if you're threatening a police officer or anybody and any serious crimes, but they get detained, arrested, they'll be immediately mandatory detention. Means ఏంటంటే the biggest problem in this issue is no bail. You cannot come out. Normalga, when you're detained, when you're arrested in the police station or in the jail, you have a right of bail, constitutional right. You can go to the court and ask for the bail, but in this law, no bail, mandatory detention. అంటే the whole due process of law has been changed ఇప్పుడు అంటే ఈ law వల్ల. That means you don't have a day in the court అంటాం. A day in the court అంటే వెదర్ ఇప్పుడు ఫ్రివిలెస్గా కూడా కంప్లైంట్ చేయొచ్చు, ఎవడికో కోపానికి వచ్చి వీడు కొట్టాడని చెప్పొచ్చు. అమ్మాయిలు అబ్బాయిలు ఉన్నప్పుడు గర్ల్ ఫ్రెండ్ బాయ్ ఫ్రెండ్ అమ్మాయి షీ కుడ్ హావ్ కాల్డ్ అండ్ సే హో హీ సిట్ మీ అసాల్ట్ చేశాడు బ్యాటరీ చేశాడని, అంటే దే కుడ్ ఈవెన్ మేక్ ఫ్రివిలెస్ కంప్లైంట్స్. అండ్ ఇప్పుడు డ్రంక్ డ్రైవింగే కానీ షాప్స్లలో కూడా see sometimes what happens, four friends are going to a store and they're using one card, one guy puts it in, they go to the automatic manamu because now they're all automatic, you can self checkout lalo. If you miss one merchant of goods, then when you come out there is a signal వస్తుంది. వస్తే they could detain all of four people, both అందరిని detain చేయొచ్చు, arrest చేయొచ్చు. So this could be misused a lot. That means no defense tomorrow.
కానీ సివిల్ రైట్స్ అన్ని ఉంటాయి కదా మన వాళ్ళకి. సో హౌ దిస్ కాన్సిక్వెన్సెస్ ఎలా ఉంటాయి దీని మీద?
See, you're 100% right question, Andy. Because there are civil rights liberties in US law, and the American constitution is liberty, rule of law. Ivanni koda because one stroke of a pen by the president, and it is passed as a law in both the houses. Unfortunate thing endante, because in both the houses, House of Representatives and in Senate, the Republicans have majority. And some of the Democrats are also supported. Ikkada evaru criminals undakudadu ma deshamlo. And they cannot attack or they cannot kill any Americans. They cannot do any serious assaults. They cannot do any shoplifting. And they cannot assault a police officer. They cannot get involved in any serious crimes. Any bitter. So they want to clean the country. So yes, civil rights avani kuda jeopardize avutayi, hinder avutayi, and the constitutional due process will also be, see, because this is against the due process. Ante due process ante there is a substantial due process, there is a procedural due process. These are all legal terms and constitutional law. That means notice and hearing. What is a due process means? One has to be given notice and hearing. If they don't have notice and hearing, you're mandatory, you're putting them in jail and no bail, you will be sent back to your country, and is very arbitrary kada. Ishtanusaram. They might not even like you. Some girlfriend might have given a false complaint, or some store owner, they might not like you. They said, oh, he's stolen some things. The moment you're arrested, you're detained and no bail for you. Until you don't have a day in the court. You can't have an attorney representing you. Kada? Sometimes they could be innocent also. Kada?
Yes.
It's a dangerous thing, actually. It's very, very dangerous thing. So that means all the immigrants have to be super careful now. Oh, nak telidu, I don't know the law. Oh, I never knew this law because it came just few days ago. So they cannot say. Media vallu, and I think Sakshi is doing a good job, and you have picked up this topic, Priyaru. This is very important topic. Any viewers seeing this show, they should share this with all the immigrant community, Telugu speaking or anybody else.
సో దీన్ని మనం ఛాలెంజ్ చేయలేమంటారా ఈ లాని?
Excellent question. It could be debatable. It could be challenged in the Supreme Court ఎందుకంటే because there are some provisions which are unconstitutional. Enduku civil liberties, rule of law, due process of law, ivanni kuda is taken away by them, by that law. It could be unconstitutional and somebody has to challenge it in Supreme Court of America. Never know. Monno vachindi ganuka, and President Trump also said yesterday, and it's very emotional moment. Lekhi వాళ్ళ mother వచ్చి కూడా she thanked him, saying that there's a reassurance to the country. But many Democrats are also saying, okay, take out all the criminals from the country, the way the deportation is happening. And immigration enforcement, part of it.
సో దీనివల్ల మనకు ఇండియన్స్కి ఎస్పెషల్లీ స్టూడెంట్స్ F1 వీసాల మీద వచ్చే వాళ్ళు కానీ H1Bs మీద కానీ ఎలాంటి ఇంపాక్ట్ ఉండబోతోంది?
It's going to have a serious impact on the Priya. Why? Because Students have to be super careful now. They cannot go to stores and steal now. Walmart lo పోయి అమ్మాయిలు అబ్బాయిలు they cannot do any more shoplifting. Period. Number one. Number two, they cannot work in the stores. They cannot sell liquor to the minors. They cannot sell cigarettes to minors. They cannot get arrested. And for any offense, if they get arrested, immediately the immigration will be informed. They will be in a detention center. They will not get any bail. They will go to jail and they will be sent. Number two. Number three, any girlfriends and boyfriends, anybody, husband and wives in the country, even H1B guys or green card holder guys, they cannot fight now. If they fight, if the wife calls or husband calls, they'll be in trouble if they get arrested. They'll be sent. No way. Number five, no serious offenses. No drink driving, no drug offenses, no serious crimes. If anybody does any of those, even until green card holder, they'll be in trouble. Except citizens.
సో ఎలాంటి క్రైమ్స్ ఇందులోకి రాబోతున్నాయి? సో ఒకటి వైలెంట్ క్రైమ్స్, ఒకటి సెక్షువల్ అబ్యూస్, డ్రంక్ అండ్ డ్రైవ్ కేసెస్, ఇలాంటి ఇంకెలాంటి కేసెస్ ఈ లాకి
Any
వర్తించబోతున్నాయి?
serious offenses as against police officers who, drug offenses who, if your immigration violations, let's say you're working in a store, you don't have a right to work, students, and if there's NH1B employers who are committing offenses of making false green cards, false resumes, all the false fake things, doing, they're encouraging double jobs or paying the money overseas, even, money laundering offenses, any offenses until H1B green card holders, except citizens, they will be punished seriously, no bail, they will be in the jail, they'll be sent out of the country.
సో ఆల్రెడీ ఒకవేళ ఏదైనా కేసు నడుస్తూ అలా ఉన్న వాళ్ళ పరిస్థితి ఏంటి?
ఇప్పుడు వాళ్ళు, if they are arrested in the streets, they said that they can also arrest them in the streets, they can arrest them in any public places, పట్టుకుంటే they will be sent home. అంటే there is no, this law is very harsh. ఇప్పుడు ట్రయల్ చేసి ఒకవేళ prosecution has to prove. Normally, let's say somebody has stolen some goods in a shoplifting, the prosecution has to prove the case beyond reasonable doubt. Avani em lekundane is saying mandatory detention. That means you're in the jail, no bail. Even if the prosecutor says yes, or criminal defense attorney goes to the court and argues saying that, can you please give us a bail, a mandatory detention, they'll be sent to 2 months undachu, 3 months undachu, they'll be deported back to their own countries.
ఓకే. సో ఇప్పుడు మనకి ఇందాక మీరు అన్నారు కదా, జనరల్లీ H1బీస్ కానీ ఇది డబుల్ జాబ్ కొంచెం కామన్‌గా చేస్తూ ఉంటారు మన ఇండియన్స్ ఇక్కడ. సో H1 ఇప్పుడు గ్రీన్ కార్డ్ మీద డబుల్ జాబ్స్ చేస్తుంటారు, ఈఏడీస్ మీద చేస్తుంటారు, H1 మీద చేస్తుంటారు. సో వీళ్ళందరికీ కూడా ఏమైనా ఇంపాక్ట్ ఉండబోతోందా?
ఇప్పుడు గ్రీన్ కార్డ్ వాళ్ళు డబుల్ జాబ్ చేసుకుంటే ప్రాబ్లం లేదు, బికాస్ దే హ్యావ్ రైట్ టు వర్క్. ఇప్పుడు ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ H4 guys, EADs, they have a right to work in the country, they can do it. But however, you have to take the salary in America, you have to pay the taxes in America, and don't take the money in India or other countries that are wants to money laundering, serious offense. Don't do offenses, ilantivi. So that will not have any impact if you take 2 jobs. But H1B guys, if you want to do 2 jobs, take another H1B concurrently, 1 part-time H1, 1 full-time H1, and do everything by law. Be on the payroll, pay the taxes, don't cut corners. ఏ చిన్న అఫెన్స్ లో పట్టుబడ్డా కూడా యూ విల్ బి సెండ్ బ్యాక్. నో గ్రీన్ కార్డ్, నో I-140, no, your green card also will be taken off and they will send you back.
సో కవిటి గారు, సో కొంచెం మా లేమన్ టర్మ్స్ లో నాకు డిటెన్షన్, ఇప్పుడు డిటెన్షన్, డిపోటేషన్, అరెస్ట్ అసలు తేడా ఏమైనా ఉందా ఈ మూడిటికి?
See, arrest means, ఇప్పుడు for example, if some police officer stops you and he arrests you, అంటే he will put handcuffs to you and he will say that you're under arrest. That means legal process lendi, if you're arrested, the police has to give you certain కొన్ని warnings ఇవ్వాలి. I'm going to ask you, you can talk or you can remain silent అని. That's a legal process. That means your liberty, your right to movement is being curtailed if you're arrested. Detention, they'll take you to the police station, prison, they'll take your fingerprints, they will send you to a jail, detention center and jail. Deportation means they're forcibly removing you from United States to back to your country. That's called deportation. And deportation is an international crime. It is an offense as against country. When they are sending you, they will arrest you, they will put you in handcuffs, they will put you in the plane, and they'll give it to the plane low. Pilot Kistaru, you will be given to the pilot, and the pilot will surrender you to the police, local police, wherever that plane goes, and you're arrested there again. And when you're put back to your country, when you go to your own home country, that pilot will surrender you to the immigration police or a police. That is called deportation. The deportation is an international crime, that is an offense as against the country. అప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది, as per the Indian law, your passport is being revoked. That means they will what they will do, they will cancel your passport. That means you might not be able to get the passport again, and you will not be able to travel to another country. So deportation is an international crime, serious offense.
ఓకే. సో, ఇప్పుడు మన ఇండియన్స్ ఏం చేయాలంటారు? ఇలాంటి సిట్యుయేషన్స్ గానీ, ఒకవేళ ఫాల్స్‌గా ఎవరైనా ఇట్లా అక్యూజ్ చేయబడి ఇలా జరిగినప్పుడు, సో వాట్ ఆర్ ద ప్రికాషన్స్ దట్ దే నీడ్ టు టేక్ కేర్?
They have to be first by the law. They cannot say, I don't know the law. They have to know the law. They have to remain silent if they don't understand. They can ask for an attorney, and they cannot get arrested. They cannot do any unlawful things. They have to be by the law. Number one. Number two, and they have to get in touch with some competent lawyers in their own jurisdictions. If somebody gets detained, and if the police officer says, hey, we have arrested you, you're under the detention, tell the police officer, sir, can I speak to my friends or family, and can I have an attorney? I'll let my attorney can speak. Well, these are called Miranda warnings. Well, they have a right to remain silent, and they can speak to a lawyer, they can speak to their family. And number three, if you're on a visa, you got to be careful. Even for a green card holder, you have to be careful, because once you're arrested and detained, no remedies as per this law. So one side ఏంటంటే, this is a very, very harsh law, and it's not a good news actually. So one has to be very, very careful now.
ఓకే. సో, ఈ లాని ఏమైనా ఛాలెంజ్ చేసేదేమైనా ఉందంటున్నారా? లేకపోతే సుప్రీం కోర్ట్‌లో గానీ, ఎక్కడైనా గానీ ఫైల్ చేయడం గానీ, లైక్ ఎనీథింగ్ ఈస్ గోయింగ్ టు హ్యాపెన్ ఇన్ నియర్ ఫ్యూచర్?
Well, it could be challenged. We don't know. ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ ఏంటంటే, because there are a lot of legal scholars, there are a lot of democratic states వాళ్ళు. ఇంకొకటి, the interesting part what Trump has brought in this law. For example, because New York State ఇవన్నీ కూడా sanctuary cities అంటారు, sanctuary states అంటారు, California, Chicago. They said in that law, for example, any undocumented alien has committed any offense in the sanctuary states. వాళ్ళకి ఎంత పవర్ ఇచ్చారంటే ఫెడరల్ గవర్నమెంట్ now under this law, they said the state government attorney generals, అలాంటి undocumented aliens, any criminals are there in the country, if they have committed any offense, the attorney generals of that state can sue federal government and better. అంటే they have given unfettered powers to the state government. If they find out any undocumented alien in their state and they have committed an offense, ante they said you could even sue the federal government. Ante they have given unfettered powers to the state as well. So that's the reason ఇప్పుడు the New York mayor and some mayors are coming forward, and they're saying that, okay, please arrest all these criminals, those who are in this country, and deport them. Ante in a way there is a nationalism now, because all the American citizens, it's a national feeling now. See the way things are happening in Germany and Europe, they don't want, but Germany they've demolished a lot of mosques in Germany. They're sending all the Muslims out of the country, and the same thing is happening in other parts of Europe. ఇప్పుడు there is a nationalism now. It's buy Americans, be Americans, American first అని. So it's a patriotic thing, but Democrats అయినా కూడా Republicans, the American citizens, Americans are in favor of this Sunday. So that means it's a local and non-local feelings, the way we see in our country. So this has come up to that stage now, and everybody is welcoming this law. So what I suggest, all non-immigrants, They have to be aware of what Trump is coming up with. 50 to 100 executive orders he signed. So we have to understand, go back to White House website, read everything, try to be aware of the law. Don't say that I don't know the law of the land, because ignorance of law is not excuse. I don't know the law of this land, no excuse, bad luck. If you're getting in trouble, you get arrested, you're in trouble. So mandatory detention is a bad thing. Bail లేనప్పుడు what is that you're going to argue? Tell me. No remedies. ఇప్పుడు ఇండియాలో కూడా పేరెంట్స్ చూడాలండి ఇది. This show they have to see it in India as well. Let Sakshi telecast this during the daytime with all the parents and Indian citizens and Telugu Rashtraలలో, both of them have to see, all the media guys have to see. Let them get aware of this law, because not many people are talking about this. So it's a very, very serious legislation, Andy.
అంటే ఇప్పుడు మనకి స్టూడెంట్స్‌కి కూడా చాలా ఇంపాక్ట్ ఉండొచ్చు. జనరల్లీ స్టూడెంట్స్ వచ్చి ఇక్కడ రెస్టారెంట్స్‌లో వాటిలో వర్క్ చేస్తూ ఉంటారు. సో, వాళ్ళకి ఇప్పుడు అలా ఉండదు. సో, ఇండియా నుంచే మనీ తీసుకొనొచ్చి దే నీడ్ టు పే ఫర్ దేర్ స్టడీస్. సో, స్టూడెంట్స్ వచ్చేవాళ్ళు కూడా కొంచెం జాగ్రత్తగా ఉండాల్సొస్తుంది. అండ్ హెచ్-4 ఈఏడీస్ కానీ, గ్రీన్ కార్డ్స్ కానీ, ఇలా 2 జాబ్స్ చేసేటప్పుడు అట్లా ఏమైనా ఉండేటప్పుడు కూడా దే హావ్ టు మేక్ ష్యూర్ దట్ దే ఆర్ ఎర్నింగ్ ఇన్ యూఎస్ అండ్ దే ఆర్ పేయింగ్ ద టాక్స్ ఇన్ యూఎస్ ఇట్‌సెల్ఫ్. సో, లైక్ జనరల్లీ మన వాళ్ళు చేసేవి ఇవే. ట్రంక్ అండ్ డ్రైవ్‌లు కూడా కొంచెం జాగ్రత్తగా ఉండాల్సొస్తది ఇప్పుడు. అండ్ వాళ్ళు చాలా కామన్‌గా మాట్లాడేటప్పుడు అంటుంటారు, డిపోర్ట్ చేసేస్తే ఏముంది, డిపోర్ట్ అయిపోతాం అంతే కదా అంటుంటారు. బట్ డిపోర్టేషన్ కూడా అంత ఈజీ కాదు. ఇట్స్ ఏ సీరియస్ క్రైమ్. సో
Yes, absolutely. ఏమైంటదంటే under the Indian Passport Act, what they will do, it's called impounding of Indian passport. What does it mean? The Indian government will cancel your visa, your passport, and when you're applying for another passport again, they will not give it to you. That's called impounding of your passport under the Passport Act. I'm telling you the Indian law. I'm not telling you the American law. So you cannot say that, oh, I'll go and get another passport, try another country. When you're going to another country, Americans have a contract with the UK, Americans have a contract with Australia, England, New Zealand, and some European countries. 5-part trade contract anundi. If you're deported, they will report this information to Canada and England and all other countries. You cannot go to any other country, because they share the information. Budu, you're an IT person, because it's all in the cloud. They share this information with all these countries. That means you cannot go to any other country in the future. So the Indian government will also not give you a passport, because your passport is being impounded because of this international crime. So one has to be careful, Andy. And it's not a joke. It's not easy. Now it is a rule of law. One has to understand that ignorance of law is not excuse. Oh, I don't know the law, Nanagurdu. Parents have to know. The kids have to know. H-1B guys have to know. Green card holders have to know. Even the visitors, parents have to know. Parents also get in trouble when they come to see their family sometimes. ఈ షాప్స్లలో అక్కడిక్కడ, I want them to be careful too. This is not a warning, but I'm just trying to educate to our guys from both the Rashtralu, Telugu వాళ్ళకి. And I'm going to do some videos also on my own YouTube channel. I'm going to tell in my social media as well. This is just for information purposes. Don't consider this as a legal advice. ఏమన్నా అవుతే get in touch with some competent lawyers, అండి, some criminal defense lawyers, immigration lawyers. Get to know, aware of your rights and liabilities, and whatever the privileges you have. That's all.
సో, ఇండియన్ గవర్నమెంట్ ఏమైనా చేయబోతోందా ఈ లా గురించి?
Nobody can interfere in the local lawmaking process, Andy. The foreign governments cannot interfere in the domestic law process. They cannot do it. It's the law. That's international law.
సో, ఇప్పుడు అయితే మీరు చెప్పినట్టు మన ఇమిగ్రెంట్స్ గానీ అందరూ చాలా జాగ్రత్తగా ఉండాల్సిన పరిస్థితి ఇది. అండ్ దీన్ని చాలా అబ్యూజ్ చేసే ఛాన్సెస్ కూడా ఉన్నాయి. సో, మనం ఎంత జాగ్రత్తగా ఉంటే అంత బెటర్. సో, ఎవరన్నా ఏదైనా ఫాల్స్ కేస్ ఏసినా గానీ ఇట్స్ గాన్. లైక్ వి విల్ బీ డిపోర్టెడ్. సో, ఐ థింక్ ప్రాబబ్లీ మేబీ ఇండియన్ గవర్నమెంట్ అన్నా కొంచెం చూసుకొని దెన్ దే హావ్ టు డూ సమ్ రిఫార్మ్స్ ఏమో మన సైడ్ నుంచి. ఐ డోంట్ నో హౌ ఇట్ గోస్. బట్ థ్యాంక్ యూ Srinivas Garu for sharing all this information. This helps our viewers అండ్ ఎస్పెషల్లీ ఇక్కడ ఇండియన్ కమ్యూనిటీకి ఇది అవేర్‌నెస్ చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్. స్టూడెంట్స్ గానీ, ఆన్ వీసా హోల్డర్స్ కానీ. సో లాస్ట్‌గా మీరు ఏం చెప్పాలనుకుంటున్నారు ఈ టాపిక్ గురించి మా వ్యూవర్స్‌కి?
Well, ఇప్పుడు things are not going to be the same in America for another 4 years because Trump will be in power. Every day is coming with some executive orders. Is making major changes in the country, and it's not America what we saw in the past. But now it's a different administration. Policies are different. Local Americans are top priority, and they want to clean up the country, and they want to, America the great, so he's coming up with a lot of policies and a lot of changes అంటే రెవల్యూషనరీ చేంజెస్ తీసుకొస్తున్నారు ఆయన. గతంలో ఏ ప్రెసిడెంట్ తీసుకురాకున్నా ఈస్ బ్రింగింగ్ ఇట్. వన్ హ్యాస్ టు బి కేర్ఫుల్, నో ద లా, రూల్ ఆఫ్ లా ఈజ్ ఎస్టాబ్లిషింగ్ అంతే. ఇప్పుడు కృష్ణుడు అంటాడు కదా, ఎప్పుడైతే ధర్మ సంస్థాపనకు నేను వస్తాను అని. సో ఐ థింక్ ఇట్స్ లా ఇస్ బీన్ ఎస్టాబ్లిష్డ్ అగైన్. ఎందుకంటే దిస్ వాజ్ ఎ రూల్ ఆఫ్ లా ఆఫ్ దిస్ కంట్రీ. నౌ ఇట్స్ కమింగ్ బ్యాక్, ఇట్స్ హ్యాపెనింగ్. ఎందుకంటే మన వాళ్ళు కానీ బయట 190 days కంట్రీస్ నుంచి వచ్చి దే హ్యావ్ కరప్టెడ్ దిస్ కంట్రీ. నౌ హీ సేయింగ్ దట్ ఎవరైతే ఫెడరల్ గవర్నమెంట్ ఆఫీసర్స్ ఆఫీసు రాకపోతే కూడా నేను ఫైర్ చేస్తాను అంటున్నాడు. హీస్ ఫైరింగ్ లాట్ ఆఫ్ పీపుల్. సో ఈస్ కోంబింగ్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్ అండి. సో ఇట్స్ అ డిఫరెంట్ అమెరికా నౌ.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Srinivas Garu, for sharing all this information with our viewers. This is Priya Koteti signing off. You are watching Sakshi Mana Sakshi. Thank you.